Hello and welcome to the Knock on KCLR and Scoreline.ie's weekly rugby podcast. Tom Crotty, Johnny Tobin, how are you?
Oh,
Very good, Stephen.
Good stuff, good stuff. We've a bit better internet connections this week than we did last week. Things were going a bit blippy last week, but sure, anyway. Lads, busy fucking times. In the provincial side of stuff, the Heineken Champions Cup is on this weekend. You know, we were talking about the Grand Slam and all that last week. But here at home, we have a cup winner in our midst.
The trophy. Look at that trophy.
Look at that trophy on Johnny's profile over there. Look.
Two cup winners.
Two cup winners.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tom. Yeah.
The
sorry,
right ones,
my
yeah.
apologies. Yeah. Those trophies handed out last weekend. Sure, we'll begin with you, Johnny. League champions and promoted to 1A. How does that sound?
Yeah, sounds very good. It's still a bit surreal, considering the few blimps we had during the year. And then at the start of the game, up in Kildare, we kicked off as if we were going to go 100 miles an hour for 80 minutes. And 5 minutes into that game, that changed very quickly because Kildare came back out of the blocks out of nowhere. So it was a bit wobbly there for the start, but the second half we kind of found our feet and got a few nice scores, and a few slip-ups by Kildare that the lads took advantage of, so it was very good. And then obviously Carlow done us a massive favour and putting a score on Wicklow as well, so was good. Great celebrations afterwards in Kildare, great celebrations in the club that night. But two big games actually. Our seconds had a cracking game as well up in Kildare, and they haven't played in a few weeks, so they needed that. But yeah, it's good. We're not really worried about 1A at the moment, though. We've a big mountain to climb now in 10 days' time, so we're all focused on that now.
Yeah, a bit of a break this weekend anyway with the end of the league, I suppose, and the Towns Cup. Like you said, it's coming up the week after next. Johnny, you were on commentary duty for KCLR there with Brendan Hennessy. If anyone wants to listen back to that match, incidentally, Scoreline.ie, and you'll see it on our podcast there on our Big Game Live. You can listen back to Johnny and Brendan and Dewey there. How would you find the old commentary duty, Johnny?
Yeah, it's been a while. Sure, it was last year in Kildare was the last one I'd done, and it was Kilkenny, obviously, in Ashbourne Towns Cup final. Sure, look, it's easy. Like Brendan, and I'm going to do it yourself for Brendan. It's very easy, you know. Lads that do it, Brendan does it every day of the week. Sure, he's very good at it, to be fair. So it's easy. Like, look at it. It's hard in a way though as well. Talk about your own club, and you're not trying to be very one-sided. You're trying to keep the game as fair as it can. But look, it's all part and parcel. It was a bit of crack too. People enjoy listening to me going rambling about Tullow, and then Brendan pulled me back in saying one or two things about Carlow. You know the way he is. Him and his Carlow ties, you know. I got cornered actually at one stage during the game. He was there and Chaz Murphy was the other side of me, and they kind of cornered me. So I dropped a few bombs, and they left it alone then very quickly. So it was good. But yeah, this weekend then I suppose all of our attention actually, I skipped the week. All of our attention is turned to Midlands Warriors on Sunday with our seconds. So they play Midlands Warriors first in the Seconds Cup this Sunday. So that'll be a tough task considering it's their first team and it's up there as well. It's a good spin up the road. So, But look, our seconds team is stacked with incredible rugby players. Aho Bloomfield is playing on it. Frank Murphy's playing on it. Young Fionn Hickey's after coming up from the 18s. He's playing on it. Some really, really good rugby players. Pookie Canavan is back playing seconds for the cup. He's eligible for the cup, so he's playing seconds there. So, no, but it's good. I'm looking forward to actually going to this game. I think it'll be a good game. And then obviously, a good friend of mine coaches Midlands Warriors as well. So, good Carlow man there, Keith Southern. So it'll be interesting.
Absolutely. And Shawnee got a run out for Nace as well. Forgot to mention that.
Yeah, last week. Yeah. It's great seeing him back playing a bit of ball because get him fit for next year, you know. Keep him right. Keep him right. Yeah. We could do with him. But look, there's lots going on in the club, I suppose, outside the seniors as well. Dan O'Brien obviously starting for the Irish women this weekend. Peter Burgess from the 18s team was in with Irish 18s camp. He'd done some damage to his knee, so he'd been monitored there for a while. And then Tom Hughes been brought through to the last stage of the Leinster 18 youth trials. I think Ty Gronin made it as well. Tom, I'm not too sure. I think he did get called through. So there's two lads from the county there going well at that. And then I suppose another section of Southeast trials will be on in Tullow in 2 weeks' time. And our women actually are playing tonight. Our women play MU Byrne Hall tonight in the Paul Flood Cup quarter-final in the club at 7 o'clock. I think it's 7 o'clock. And our under-15s play Carlow in a quarter-final in Tullow at 6 o'clock this evening. So a couple of games out in the club. That's Friday, if anyone's listening to it now. Couple of games out in the club today as well. So lots going on out there. But sure, like I said last week, if you're playing at the end of March and the start of April, you're doing all right. So we're going fairly well.
And the boys have been able to settle down and get their attentions back to Town's Cup preparations anyway.
Yeah, well, look, they enjoyed Sunday night. There's no point saying they didn't. And rightly earned them and then had a good session together. But they regrouped Tuesday. We're training Tuesday, training last night, training again tonight now. So good few training sessions under the belt. We'll need them all because 10 days' time is not going to be easy. Carlow obviously full of confidence after a win in Wicklow, and rightly so. And they're a good run as well, a form in the cup. So anyone that knows anything about rugby and wants to watch a good rugby match, go to Scoreline on the 9th of April because that's going to be an absolute cracker.
Absolutely. Well, Tom, we'll move on to you and Carlow. Congratulations, good win over Wicklow. You know, we're all talking about Wicklow at the start of the season and their strength and everything like that. Nice to go there and get a win.
Yeah, absolutely. We were a bit worried kind of going over because as I said to Johnny, it was all joking aside, like we had a few injuries and a few lads very sore after the last match. So lads went up, like a few lads had changed around positions and so on, and it actually ended up being they played really, really well. They had a cracking game up there. I think the pack, our pack absolutely at them. You know, I think it was 2 or 3 scrum penalties on that. They played really, really, really well. So I think it was more than deserved. You know, it's nice to go away to Wicklow for the last game of the season and get a bonus point win. Like it's not like the points mean nothing at the end of it, but it's all to do with your headspace and where we're at, and looking forward to like coming into Town's Cup next weekend. You know, if you'd gone to Wicklow and lost, you know, you wouldn't leave you in a particularly good spot. But the first and seconds went up and had 2 good wins, so they were happy enough. Came home. As I said, like there was a few changes in position. We got a few lads rests on the kind of. John Lyons got a first rest of the season. I don't think he got a break all season, so John only played half a game. I think that's the only game he's played half a game. He's played every single game since the start of the season. So John got a little bit of a break, and it was good to see Larry back in the front row again. He's back out of injury. Young Tyrone played well, but was how would I put it? A little bit of unfair play was kind of happening. He got a box to the head. He got a knee into the side, and he got absolutely shoulder out of it. He was targeted on 3 occasions. But other than that, like I mean, he's only just 18 years of age, but and he was doing really, really well. We took him off, because it wasn't right what was happening. Anyway, we'll forget about that. It was a good win, and we're back on the road again now. Came home and had a good enough training session on Tuesday night. We trained again. We're kind of up to mad buzz at the moment because we have our seconds out on Sunday against Portlarlington first. That's at 3 o'clock in the club. The seconds have done well all season. Be a tough game for them, but again, a couple of lads back from injury from the first net who have been regraded. So again, looking forward to that. And our thirds are out. They're playing Ashbourne as well.
Yeah,
so it's
in
the Anderson Cup. So there's at the moment that we have. That's on Ashbourne. That's on Ashbourne at 3 o'clock in Ashbourne on Sunday as well. But look, that's 3 teams out, and we hope to have 4 we have an unbelievable response for the thirds and fourths. We can't believe it. So I mean, like without subs, like a minimum of 60 players there who've all they're all coming out of the woodwork. Like so, just like it's
looking down the back of couches for boots.
Yeah, well, it's not. It's a good place to be in, and like that's what rugby is about. That's what sports about. It's that everyone has a place to enjoy something, and I know it could be short lived because it depends whether you win or lose. It's cup rugby, but it's nice to have the lads that just come along and are going to socialise, and I'm sure they'll have a few Lucasades and stuff after the game, and meet up with old friends. They're training this week. Like, there was a good training session on the other night for the Thursday. Like, there was a fair amount of lads turned up, so. Look, it's good to be in that position. I mean, as I said all season, we had so many injuries and it would have devastated an awful lot of clubs. But we were able to survive. Okay, we didn't get our end goal was to come top two. We missed out on that because of a couple of inaccuracies in games, and we didn't get. In fairness, look. I have to say congratulations to Tullow. They developed really, really well throughout the season. They got their bonus points, which at the end of the day was what the difference between the two sides. They got their winning bonus points when they needed it, and they also, if they lost, they got their losing bonus points, and that's a huge thing for a team to be able to do, and that just shows how strong they are. And look, we're looking forward to the challenge against them. They're on a high as well, huge high, which is to say, look, put all differences aside, they're a very good team, very, very good team, deserve to be where they are, and I'm sure they'll do extremely well in Division 1A next season. And it's look, it's hard to take because you'd love to be up there competing with them. But not this season, so our lads are happy. I have to thank everyone that's put in the effort in the league. All 50 lads, I think they were in and out, and everyone gave a hand, and guys got games, and some guys actually developed really well because of that. They got into the first and second team, and some of them moved from seconds to normally might have even had a look in at the first, got to move up and performed really well. So look, to have 60 players registered, I think it's 60 or 70 players registered at the end of the season. They call those players registered up. So I mean, it just shows you that it's a good it's local sport, and we have local players. Most of them are all homegrown, so I
believe Gordy Rowe talked out top.
Great, he did, yeah. He played a friendly against Thai the other night.
44 years of age, still hanging around.
It's still not a bother him, I tell you. He's
fit. Gordy's fit.
Yeah,
looks after himself.
Yeah, he played quite well. He's playing on Sunday actually. But look, that's, as I say, that's the type of lads that are around, and coming into the weekend, like we also had I have to give a real shout out to the under 16 Rhinos, which is ourselves in Tullow. That just seems to be really the combination of the two clubs, and has really blossomed with the Rhinos. And our 16s won the Division 1 league on Sunday. Kilkenny had a massive win over Mullingar, who we lost to early in the season by 7 points, and then we lost up there by 1 point, and we won 17-5 in the final. Their defence was absolutely outstanding. Would give any team a run for their money. They were the whole panel, every single girl put their neck on the line for that game, and I have to say hats off. They were just absolutely outstanding from 1 to 23. Can't, and you wouldn't even know what club they were from. As far as they're concerned, they're they're Rhinos, and they're the girls, and they're absolutely, their skill levels have come on so much this year. It's developing. The 14s I watched them against a good Argo side, which is Arklow and Gorey, and they played really, really well against them. They're coming on board. There's an awful lot of younger girls in that group, and and they're developing well. So to see those, like, there's a group there of nearly 50 girls between 14s and 16s, and their skill levels, their interest, their enthusiasm, and I have to give a shout out to the parents of these kids, because it's been years since I've had been involved with a group of any group that had parents that just would bend over backwards for you. You never have to look for a lift for anybody. You know, that they turn up at all the games, and they're phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Great stuff.
So, and then I just wish all the lads who did. I want to just say to Stevie Smith and Adam Watchorn, both. Adam Watchorn's on the
18s.
Has made the under-18s Irish school club panel, and Stevie Smith is on the Irish under-19s. Like, both the boys played their minis, and I know they went off to Kilkenny, but both of them played their minis and in Carlow right up to 13, and they're forever in the club. So they're not just passers through. Stevie comes and trains with the lads whenever he can. He just likes loves being around. So you have to say big congratulations. It's great for those two young fellas. You know, another two players from County, including all the lads from Tullow and the other young lads from Carlow, who are making, you know, Southeast teams, and like, rugby is really, really strong in this whole area. I know it's not just Carlow. We have to be careful the county, don't we, Johnny? But,
I'll pass no comment on County Carlow.
You're the one that's saying the county, so don't mind the county. Look, it's the whole. We're going to say the whole area, because it runs into parts of Wicklow, parts of Kildare, parts of Wexford. So you know, there's kids coming from all around to the two clubs, and you know, any parents that ever have an interest in getting their kids out, they come to either club and be more than welcome, because rugby, we're blessed in the southeast. The whole area of the southeast, rugby is still very, very strong.
That's the way to do it. Just a bit, we don't have James Blanchfield on the podcast for anyone.
Thank God.
Listening.
They're used to
Thank God.
Nothing to talk about.
At least we'll be over before 40 minutes anyway.
Yeah, their first, obviously, still in the cup for anyone not familiar with it. So Carlow, Tullow and Kilkenny and Cill Dara are all still in the Provincial Towns Cup. Kilkenny play Cill Dara next week, and Carlow and Tullow are against each other, but they're in the Seconds Cup as well, and did a good win over Boyne last weekend, 27-5, and Kilkenny are away to Wicklow in the Seconds Cup this weekend. Yeah, busy down there as well. Yeah, I don't know. Johnny, have you any scandal for us?
No, not really. No real scandal as such. I was on a competitor's podcast during the week there. I was on with Across the Four Lakes with Chaz Murphy. It's very interesting talking to Chaz. He dropped a bomb of a question that I was delighted Stephen Byrne never asked me. He said, Johnny, if Tullow lose to Carlow next week, would you like to see Carlow win the Towns Cup?
God, man.
I just laughed because he knows what he's up to. He's a fecker that way.
I did a stint, and I did I recorded in the dressing room.
Yeah.
One of the sessions, he was up in the club and he grabbed me as president and caught me on the hop and brought me in.
Look at it, like he's good. Like he's a sportsman too, and he knows his stuff. But he's what would you call him? A boundary pusher. Like he caught me on live, and he knew well what he was up to. He was brewing that question up for a while, but it was good.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
we must be very tame on this podcast.
Honest to God, see, I let all you slag each other. See, I don't need to.
We don't have any controversy here. We're very respected.
The only club here has controversy is Blanchfield. It surrounds him. He's full of it.
Well, he's either all in or all out with them.
Yeah. No, but you look, just like what Tom said, like, in general, the whole rugby in the southeast is very, very strong. But in the county of Carlow, between Tullow and Carlow Rugby Club, producing some great rugby players as of late. So long may it continue, because there's like Stephen Smith has a really, really high chance of being captain of the Irish 19s. He was captain for the first game against Japan, and he came on and won the game for him in the second game. I think he scored 2 tries and set up the third.
Yeah.
He played really, really well in the second game. But just from a Kilkenny College perspective, there's 2 other young lads as well. Sean Naughton there from North Kildare, he was selected on the Leinster 19s, or the Irish 19s, sorry. And Paddy Bramley from Wexford was also selected on the 18s, but he got an injury in the camp, so he's out of the match day squad for 2 weeks' time. But he's in the squad as well, so really, really good stuff. And then his younger brother is up at the 17s in Leinster, Charlie Bramley. Ira Fenton then from Tullow is up there as well, trialing. Ryan Bailey from Enniscorthy. I'm going to leave someone out now. Tyan Smith from Athy. So all around the general area, and the clubs of Division 1B and 1A are producing some really, really good young players, albeit at schools level as well. So it's going well. So hopefully the young lads enjoy their campaigns and it goes well from during summer.
Hopefully have 2 local clubs in the Towns Cup final as well.
Cheers. What are you wishing for now? A question for you now, Stephen Byrne, living in Carlow, follow Tullow all your life. Who do you think is going to win on April 9th? Tullow, Carlow, and then it's
I have no idea. It's too hard to separate now.
Look at me, a real politician.
You see, I live in Carlow, but I'm originally from Kiltegan.
Yeah.
And over Kiltegan direction, you'd have lads heading for Carlow and lads heading for Tullow Rugby Club. So it's Kyle Hambidge should be a neighbour of mine.
Yeah, so, Kyle is very interesting to see what you have to say about Jack Mention, so he's only recently started to listen to us. So
yeah, he did. He was texting me there. How are you, Kyle, if you're listening? Thanks for listening.
No, look at it. I don't actually know how it's going to go, and I couldn't see her and call it, but it should be a good game. That's all I do know.
Yeah. Hopefully have it live on the radio for you as well. Keep an eye out for.
I think Wicklow are playing Carlow in the GA at the same time. I think. A goddamn round ball. Grab all association is on the whole time.
There'll be nobody left in Carlow to watch that, Johnny.
Well, you must be paying lads to go to Scoreline, are you?
No, I'm talking about the whole county being.
Yeah, there'll be no one left to this.
There'll be all from, if you were taking all the way across the Tullow, all the way across the Carlow, they'll be all down watching our
Brendan Hennessy was Google mapping it last Sunday in Kildare. Johnny, if I finished in Aughrim at this time, I'd be in Enniscorthy at this time. And sure, if you were there at the start, sure, we could jump on for the end. And I said, Brendan, by the time you go out of Aughrim, the game will be over in Enniscorthy. I said, by the time you drive to Enniscorthy, we'll all be back in the county of Carlow. Yeah. I said, we'll all be back in the county of Carlow.
If you park in the car park in Aughrim, you won't be getting out of there in a hurry, I tell you.
Not at all. Sure. You might as well park in Lahini and walk in.
Yeah, it's in Aughrim, isn't it? Yeah.
It's in Aughrim at 2:30 and the rugby's at 3:00 in Scorty.
You wouldn't have a hope.
Oh, he was Google mapping it there. And he was doing this, he was doing that. I said to him, if you're driving a jet, you're not getting there.
Yeah, you'd have to leave the car running on the road and come out.
I actually thought in KCLR after buying a jet or something that they're going to fly him across from Aughrim to
a helicopter
down in the car park.
Yeah, grand an hour. Him and Willie Quinlan arriving into Enniscorthy. Him and Willie going to do the rugby match.
Right.
I'm opting out of commentating on this one. I'm opting out of it. I'm sitting on the fence for this one.
Anyone
have people there tomorrow? We're talking about Leinster, Ulster. I was meant to be going up to it, Tom, and collecting someone from the airport, so I got caught. But
are you, Tom?
Are you watching on the telly?
I am.
There's bus going from Tullow if you want to get on the buses there. There's loads of space. No, I'm joking aside. There is the 18s are. I'll give you a Tullow hat you can wear for the day. No, I'm not going on them. And
I got 2 nice tickets, so I'm definitely going. But I think it's going to be a cracking game, so it's worth going.
Yeah, it will be a good game.
Caelan Doris is the only notable absentee off the team from I gathered earlier. And they're starting Jameson Gibson Park.
Yeah.
Despite that's
well, that's no brainer really. Jameson Gibson Park's probably the best scrum half in the country, like so.
It's because it's a serious because Ulster could turn up on the day. I mean, they nearly had it the last time, so
yeah. And Leinster will be going to lay a marker down after last weekend as well.
Yeah. They've left John Cooney on the bench stuff for some reason.
Ulster have.
Yeah, the dog.
See, it's hard when you mention lads like John Cooley because he was in Leinster as well, you see, so you don't really know who you're on.
Yeah.
These lads go missing, you know.
Like the Leinster bench is serious now as well. John McKee, he's flying it now at hooker for Leinster. Cian Healy, Alatoa, Jason Jenkins, Scott Penny, Luke McGrath, Harry Byrne and Kieran Frawley. Like, that's ridiculous.
Well, everyone bar Harry Byrne, I agree with you on. Just don't rate that.
But you have Kieran Frawley there as well, so you have options in the centre cover as well. You know, if you're stuck.
I think Frawley's gone back into the centre more than 10 now.
Yeah,
I think that stopped. I think
there's Jimmy O'Brien playing 13 beside Robbie. So
yeah,
he's a good defensive reader. You see, so I'd say that's why he'd be probably the best option of defensive reading now than the rest of them. Yeah, so that's a smart decision there.
Pretty strong team, lads.
It's a serious team.
Yeah,
it's an awful pity about poor old Sexton that he won't. Well, he mightn't get to play for Leinster again this year.
Maybe
I know it
after
hasn't been fully
final.
confirmed, but you'd feel for him there, like. You'd imagine he would have been starting this weekend if he was fit, like.
Absolutely.
I think they'll scrape through.
Just
they'll get by without.
Why are you laughing, Tom?
Because I still have a bet on the Leinster an unbeaten season, and I'm very happy at the moment.
It's going well.
I tell you, I was having a squeaky bum time last week, and I was saying, no, they're going to win. And then it was getting near the end. Going, here, let's hold on now.
Maybe it's
I was getting very nervous, but it's not. No.
That's a very interesting thing, Tom. That a die-hard Munster man has a bet on it. Leinster are going to have an unbeaten season. At least you know where your rugby brain is. At it. At least you have figured it out.
Die-hard Munster fan, Tom.
Money talks, Johnny.
Don't you? I know.
I'm looking to for a few free pints, you know.
What are you looking for? An early retirement out of the bakery, yeah?
I don't think of it that. Courtesy of Leinster Rugby, I'll have free pints if they do the nice duty. It's only you just all they have to do is go unbeaten. It's not very hard.
That's all.
No, it's not very hard. No, over
2 more matches games, to win.
Hard.
I tell you, Munster will have it up against them. They have a tough time down there.
When are they? They're today or tomorrow?
No, they're on tomorrow.
The name of their team yet, Tom?
Yeah. Mike Haley, Calvin Nash, Anton Frisch, Micaiah Veckentower, Shane Daly, Jack Crowley, Craig Casey, Dave Kilcoyne, Niall Scannell, Roman Salnawa, John Klein, R.G. Snyman, Peter O'Mahony, John Hognett, and Gavin Coons. And
that's
then
not bad.
The scary thing is that's probably the best that they have at the moment.
Is he on the bench, is he?
He is...
No, the bench is Dermot Byrne, Josh Wycherley, Archer, Finian Wycherley, Jack O'Donoghue, Conor Murray, Joey Carberry, and Alex Condellin.
Yeah. Jack Crowley and Casey starting. That's it. That's what's going to be going forward, I'd say. Because
I think they have to cop on after the last one. I mean,
Joey Carberry's not injured. You know, I think that's it now. It has to be Crowley and Casey.
I don't know if they're going to have an easy time with down in South Africa. They wouldn't be the most physical of fellas. Them 2 lads alone.
Jason, be very surprised. I'll tell you one thing.
Speed more than that.
Jack Crowley is actually very physical. Like everyone thinks he's small. He's over 6 foot, and he's also
is he?
He's well built. Yeah, he doesn't look it, but no, I met him. He's
Craig Casey makes him look small.
He's very physical. Well, Crazy's no different than Flap de Klerk. Like he's a little horse, like he's tiny little. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a little what do you call it, pit bull or bulldog, whatever you want to call it.
Be careful what you call him now, Tom. You could be called out for it.
A very good, nice pit bull.
Yeah, he's a small man syndrome. No, like look, I don't know. I think who are they playing first up? They have 2 games, don't they?
Sharks.
Well, the main thing is get through the Heineken Cup.
Yeah, that's the Sharks.
Yeah.
Sharks be physical enough now.
That's an early match too.
I think I have a funny feeling they can win that game. But I think they might struggle after that game. In the ORC game.
It's a hard place to go and get 2 wins back to back.
Yeah. Yep, I think the 3 down there.
Oh, jeez, even worse.
And they sort of have to target the URC, Tom, because they're at risk of falling outside the Champions Cup qualification spots as well, aren't they? A couple of things don't go right.
Yeah, it's not
for next
easy.
year. Yeah,
Like it's not easy for them. I mean, you wouldn't like to be in their coaching position to say, right, we have to go down there. We have to win a quarter final. You know, to RFC last 16 to get the quarterfinals. Then you're back to playing URC to see, can you stay in the competition for next year? Are you going to end up in the other? You know, it's not easy.
No.
Yeah. Just interesting, actually, Tom, you mentioned coaching tickets there. Something I actually probably forgot to do at the start. I just want to say, like, obviously well done, but a massive thank you to our coaching staff in Tullow at the moment, our seniors, and over the last 4 or 5 years, maybe 6 or 7 years with Morris there. He's had an incredible couple of lads with him, like, since the start. John Rogers, John O'Brien was with him, obviously, as well, and Sean, Morris, Sprocket, Ivan, Tom Pert. They've done some really, really incredible stuff, and they've been the driving force behind all this success over the last year and since Morris came here. So I just want to say from the club, I suppose, thanks to everyone that has lined out as coaching staff, and our seconds coach as well, Shane Riley and Johnny Egg. Shane Riley coaches 5 teams in the club. I don't know how the man isn't divorced yet, but just want to say thanks to them all, because they've done an incredible job all year and over the last couple of years, and and all coaches, I suppose, youth coaches and minis coaches. It's a thankless job, really, at the back of it all, but just wanted to know that the club do appreciate everyone that does it. So that's all.
Shane learned from a good person, you see.
Oh, his father, yeah. Mike's a lovely man, yeah.
I coached Shane.
Oh, did you?
I did, in Carlow.
Yeah.
Oh, in Carlow. That time he was reporting, was it?
No, he was over there. He played under 20s. He's a fine player.
He did, actually, you're right.
We got to the final of the
Gale Cup.
No, 20s. The Premier.
Yeah, Gale Cup is the 20s.
No, Gale Cup's 19s.
No, Gale Cup's 20s. I've won 2 of them. It's under 20s.
No, that's not. No, it wasn't. It's the new one.
Text in your answer, folks.
I promise you, Gale Cup is under 20s. I promise you.
Yeah, but that's the cup. That's cup. It's league.
Yeah.
No, it's
the Premier, the JP Flanagan under 19s league.
Yeah.
Under 20s league. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to the final of that, and then we went on and we won the Dunn Cup after with them.
Yeah, they're a good bunch of lads.
Yeah.
There's a few Tullow lads over that year, I think.
Yeah, no,
they were
a great bunch of lads, I have to say. Shane's some character. We brought them off. We brought them off. Shane, remember, we brought them off to Corinthians. The Corinthians on Saturday, and then we went on for the Lucases then on that night.
Do you remember Robert Lubden, Tom, who used to play in the club for Tullow, a Polish fella, used to play scrum half?
Yeah.
Him and Shane coached me years ago, under 14s and 16s. And Willie Cass, the 3 of them coached us. Now you imagine putting them 3 in a coaching team now. Parents would have you strung. Them lads used to be giving us litre bottles of water and dropping broccoli into them and telling us to drink them. So we used to be going around like lunatics. Robert Paul said, get the baraka, the energy be good for you. Jeez, your heart be bumping on your chest, thinking you're a superhero drinking baraka.
Cheers, Johnny, you might have opened a can of worms there.
No, sure.
That's a bit of crack, different times. No, it was.
Yeah. We used to go to the Bridge House then after games and play pool.
Cheers, compared to what they're drinking now before matches, Monster and all that sort of stuff.
Cheers, I see that drinking these little shot yolks.
Yeah,
they're before the warm,
full of caffeine.
Before the game. Mother of Christ, how the heart is above his chest.
You thought you were bad with your barakas in a litre of water, huh?
Yeah, they're not bad for you. And if anyone hears the banging in the background, don't worry, I've no one trapped in the wardrobe.
Just a disclaimer there.
Here doing windows, just in case anyone is worried for anyone's safety.
Anyone listening to the knock on, they can't see the visuals.
Yeah. You can just hear banging in the background.
Help.
Goddamn window men.
Carlow players can miss them.
Yeah. Well, Shirley's in the wardrobe there. I got him yesterday. He won't be released till the 10th of January or 10th of April.
Yeah. Lads, thanks a million for your company this evening, gentlemen. Best of luck this weekend in your seconds, thirds cup, your youths and ladies and everything else that's going on. We'll preview the Towns Cup semi-finals next weekend, the next week's show. Until then, have a good one.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Tom. Best of luck in the weekend.
Yeah.